Thomas Frank has been relieved of his duties at Tottenham Hotspurs. Now, in my opinion, I think that the firing is extremely unfair, and I'll give you two reasons why. Now, before we begin the video, please like and subscribe. Thomas Frank was in charge for 38 games at Tottenham, and his tenure was very unpopular. The fans did not like the way he played football. They really didn't. He was in charge for 38 games. He only had 13 wins, 11 draws, and 14 losses. They were fourth in the Champions League, so they were going quite well in that trophy. But unfortunately, they were 16th in the Premier League, only 5 points off relegation. So it looked like Europe was out of the question, top four is out of the question. So really, can they not get relegated? So the board has said that their hand was forced in firing Thomas Frank. Now, I think this is unjustified, and I'll give you two reasons. The first reason I think is injuries. Now, let me just read you, because he had 12 players available for the last match that he was in charge of before he got fired, the Newcastle game. 12 first-team players. 12, only 12, right? With 12 injuries. Let me read you some of the names, because sometimes when you hear numbers, right, it's just like, everybody has injuries. But let me read you the names of the people that are missing in his team, right? So you've got the forwards. You've got Dominic Solanke, injured. Richarlison, injured. Odegaard, injured. In midfield, you got Madison, injured. Kulishevsky, injured. Mohamed Kudus, injured. Bentancur, injured. Bergval, injured. Bissouma, injured. In defense, you've got Christian Romeo, who's suspended for 4 games. You got Pedro Porro, injured. Destiny Udogu, injured. Kevin Danso, injured. Ben Davies, injured. Dragosin, injured. Takai, injured. I mean, come on, that's now imagine if any other team, Arsenal or Man City or Chelsea, had that long of a loan release of first team quality players all injured. How are you supposed to perform? Tell me, how is that even possible? So I think that is the injury crisis at Tottenham is grossly underreported. I think it's so unfair to expect the manager to do anything, right, with such a limited squad. And then the only signing you make is Gallagher. That's not going to move the needle at all. So I think that injuries played a huge part in him getting fired. And I think it's unjustified that he did get fired with those injuries. And finally, the final reason why I think he got fired. And, many people were like, no, but Simba, Tottenham played boring football. Whether they had a full complement of players or not, it was boring stuff. It wasn't the Tottenham way, right? Now, whose fault is that? Thomas Frank played a certain type of football. He's always played that type of football, right? And the board hired him knowing this is the type of football he plays. Thomas Frank likes to have a mid to low block team, right? That's well organized. They don't have loads of possession. They're very good at set pieces, very good in transition, and that's what he had at Brentford, and that's why they were world beaters. But that's not going to win you anything in that type of football, right? Only in the case of Leicester, maybe. But under normal circumstances, that kind of football doesn't win you anything. Hence why Brentford were always like 9th, 8th, around there. They were overachieving for their budget. But now when you want to translate that to Tottenham, you're not going to get very far, because Tottenham is used to playing offensive football. They've had wonderful footballers there, like Harry Kane, Gareth Bale, Rafael van der Vaart, offensive players. And in this team with Madison, Kulishevsky, Mohamed Kudus, they're built in the same way. They're built to be a very possessive, possession-based, forward-thinking, flowing, attacking football team. And then what you do, you give them Mourinho 2.0. It's not going to work. It didn't work. Jose Mourinho couldn't make it work. Antonio Conte couldn't make it work. All these defensive managers couldn't make it work. Tottenham is not built that way. They haven't bought the right players to play that type of football. So I think that it's completely unfair on the fans to blame the manager. They should have blamed the board. The board were the ones who hired him, knowing what he provided. Should he have been fired? I don't think he was a good fit for Tottenham at all. I don't think he was. I think he'll get a job. I think the Crystal Palace job is available in the summer. So would probably the Fulham job will be available as well. I think they'll be able to take any of those jobs and do well in that setting. But I think the board should be blamed for this catastrophe, for this relegation battle, because they hired a defensive-minded coach, but only bought offensive-minded players in an offensive-minded culture. Terrible stuff. So in conclusion, I think that the board is to blame because, number one, they hired a coach that was defensive, knowing that they don't want to play that type of football. Number two, Tottenham was bereft with injuries from the beginning of the season, and they failed to do anything to correct that. So I think Thomas Frank is unlikely. He's a victim of circumstance and a victim of bad hiring. So let me know if you agree, and in the comments. And as always, please like and subscribe.